I posted about the dog before, but I will give a brief recap. In the mornings, I take my aunt's dog out to the yard to do her morning business. I live in a rural area, and it is still dark when I take her out. I turn on the front porch light, and that lights up half of the yard, and I have a flashlight. But there have been several times at the end of the driveway, just as the edge of where the porch light reaches, I see a black dog. My aunt's dog does not react to this dog in any way, doesn't bark at it, which is odd because she barks at everything, does not look at it or go near it. In fact, she does not even go to that area of the yard or driveway. Even though the dog is in the dark part of the yard driveway, I can make it out pretty clear. But when I shine the flashlight on it, the dog is not there. The dog is always in the same spot, but it is not there every day. Most of the time, about 2 or 3 times a week. This has been going on for 3 months. My aunt has taken her dog out in the mornings when she is up around the same time, but she has never seen or noticed this dog or anything outside odd. I have tried to wait until it's light out to take my aunt's dog out, but that doesn't work every day. Now I'm having bad dreams, really intense bad dreams, and this has happened 4 nights out of 5. I do not know if they are connected. The dreams are hard to describe, as I can't remember them clearly, but I wake up scared and have no desire to go back to sleep. Do you all think the two are connected? Is there anything I can do? Has anyone had anything like this happen before? I don't know if it was an OBE, me levitating, or an extremely lucid dream, but here it goes. I am 21 years old, 6 feet 4 inches, and around 200 pounds. For the last few weeks, I was with my parents in St. Petersburg, Florida, on vacation. We stayed at an Airbnb located, disclosed location. The 3 of us were alone in the house with our dog for 2 to 3 weeks before more people would arrive. It was around the end of the 2nd week, where I woke up early in the morning to use the bathroom. It was between 1 to 3 a.m. After finishing my business, I returned to bed and lay on my back and just closed my eyes. I don't know if it was in the beginning levels of sleep where I was aware of things around me but can't wake at a moment's notice, or I was sitting there with my eyes closed. In any case, it did not feel as though a lot of time passed, when suddenly I felt myself be lifted out of the bed. Not a straight levitation, but like if I was attached to a board with my arms out straight and a winch lifted by my head, increasing the angle of elevation of my head while sliding the rest of me across the bed until I was at 90 degrees. I then began to rise straight upwards until I made contact with the ceiling, which felt higher than expected. I was then returned into bed, like someone hit rewind on a tape, the reverse of what transpired to lift me out. When that happened, I lay there and think, what just happened? I think I actually said those words out loud at one point, and set up to check my watch or phone for the time, though the detail is a little fuzzy when I try to remember. I do remember opening my eyes, looking around, and closing them. Then the same thing happened. I was at the same level of sleep consciousness. Not a lot of time seemed to pass, but then I was raised out of bed the same way until I reached the ceiling. Then I once again was returned into bed, in reverse of how I was lifted. At that point I sat up and said, "This is weird, what is going on?" Or some variation of that. And I checked the time and it was around 3 to 3:13 a.m., if memory serves. I did try to experience this again, but I drifted off into deep sleep and woke up later in the morning with now further things to report. Upon telling my mother, she was worried, but I told her I was fine. I was more intrigued than fearful. My girlfriend came down to Florida the following Monday, and I told her about it. She thinks I either had a near-death experience in my sleep, or that the spirit of her late grandfather was playing tricks on me. Side note, this is a Airbnb. It has no affiliations with her or her family, and according to her, something similar happened to her brother a few days after his passing. I only met him a handful of times before he passed, so I don't know if that's really a sound theory. I entertain the idea of alien abduction or something, or that the room itself was haunted. Funny thing, the only other strange thing that occurred was that a wall mirror fell off the wall when no one was in there after my girlfriend came down. Also, the bedroom door closing by itself, which occurred several times before she came down when I left it slightly ajar a few times. Whatever really transpired, I did not feel the ceiling. It was almost like whatever it was trying to pull me straight out, and whatever I was, my spirit, was getting held back by the ceiling. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I live in the Royal Mojave Desert, alone in a trailer. I woke up at 2:15 a.m. in sleep paralysis, and I was being observed by what I believe were aliens that were just out of sight. It made me super uncomfortable, and I fought with all my might to break out of sleep paralysis. As I was coming out of it, I heard these clear words echoing in the astral realm that faded as I made it back to this side. My turn. So I'm sitting up now, and I'm feeling that familiar goosebumps, clammy skin, uncomfortable feeling when something unwelcome is in the presence around this time. Then 10 to 15 minutes later, I heard a very distinct but quiet knocks at the door. I heard stories that if you hear 3 knocks at night, you should never answer it. What entity could this have been? Before any event happened, I never believed in the paranormal and never experienced this. For a while, I moved back to my parents' house because I recently became disabled. The past couple of months, I started to notice a dark, vague figure that just stands there, and I assume it is looking at me. This figure has no face, and it has been doing something to my dreams. I keep dreaming of me looking at a window, looking at the earth, and I get really tense up emotionally for no reason every night. The figure has been trying to show me what it looks like. I see bits and pieces of who they are truly. Honestly, I don't know if I'm just seeing things, but I can see it during the day and night watching me. By the way, I have no history of mental illness and had a pretty normal life. A couple years ago, I had a nightmare about an old woman. Nightmares aren't unusual for me, but this was so terrifying I can't even begin to describe it. In my nightmare, the lady was following me everywhere, trying to kill me. When I woke up, I was crying and covered in sweat. I swear I saw her in the corner of my room, but I assumed it was an after effect of the nightmare. Now, I'm not so sure. I feel like I couldn't move, and I couldn't cry out. I've never had anything like sleep paralysis before or since. I started feeling like I was suffocating, and I couldn't breathe. All I remember after that was I had a seizure, and afterwards I just fell asleep crying. The more I've thought about it afterwards, the more it sounded like this might be a paranormal experience. Was that lady trying to kill me? And if she was, why? I still remember her face, but don't recognize her from anywhere other than the nightmare. This is not my first experience with paranormal, but was definitely the most confusing and terrifying.